Hello, I'm Adam, a partner at AlbionVC, one of the early investors in TEM, and I'm joined by Jason and Bartek, the CCO and CTO at TEM, on the occasion of the Series B that was just recently announced. And we thought, given it's been quite the journey over the past 3-4 years since we first invested, that we'd kind of reflect on that journey from that first early stage to where you guys are now. Awesome. And we're going to do slightly differently to just your usual interview. We've got some Q&A.
Yeah.
And we've got some Q&A both sides. So revelations all round. Starting off with rapid fire.
What did you score Adam's roast dinner out of 10?
This is...
I had the privilege of coming to your house just before Christmas.
Just before Christmas.
Oh, man, I'm on the spot. I would say it was an 8.5. Could have been more, but it was shop-bought stuffing and the Yorkshire puddings didn't rise sufficiently for me.
Right, I am not having that. It's honesty around this table. The Yorkshire puddings didn't rise. When I took those Yorkshires out of the oven, you were speechless.
But when they came to my plate, they'd sunk.
Oh, I am not having that. I'll go now. Which founder did you bet on for the High Rocks and why? Oh. I bet on Ross because Bartek was injured and I knew he was going to do you over.
What?
Yeah. Atomico still owes me money for that bet, but there we go.
It's on camera.
All right, let's go next. What's TEMfest and why aren't investors invited? Oh, man. Well, TEMfest is our companies get together. It's a place where we reflect on the past 6 months, where we celebrate wins and strategize. Investors are not invited because it's just too much for them.
Can't handle it. Don't think we can handle it. No, okay. What do you think happens at TEMfest? I think I've had photos from you in Morocco, and I think you were there kind of centering yourself on the earth while Ross was kind of stumbling around in the background. I've had various voicemails and pictures at like 3 a.m. So I've got an idea, but it's not for camera. Right. Now, I think these questions are supposed to be more thought through in terms of answers. And we're going to go through our journey together from the earliest stages of the company through to now. You can kick off again, Jose.
Okay. So those early stages, how did we as co-founders meet? It's a great story. We had the privilege of working together at Limejump, and we won together, we lost together, we had some great parties, we had some frantic, scary moments, but actually it was a friendship that was formed. And soon as we left Limejump, we really came back very early in that summer of 21 and thought, hey, there's an opportunity to work together here.
Limejump was one of the not old school energy startups, but it was kind of a breeding ground. It was one of the more successful energy startups from about 10 years ago.
Yeah, so we sold that business to Shell in 2019. Yeah. And it really was ahead of its time. And both for VCs coming into the energy space, it was like, wow, what's this company? Limejump had a lot of interest. But you know what's so cool? Since Limejump, not just for us as founders, there have been multiple people who have been on that entrepreneurial journey. And so big kudos to Eric and Ning, who set that environment up. It was really cool.
As a VC who looks at the energy space a fair amount, you see the Limejump logo appear quite often in terms of founder pages.
Yeah. No, it was a really good time.
Yeah. Good learning ground for us, I guess.
But then as in actually starting TEM, I think Joe and you in a kitchen somewhere, and then calling up the hit list with Bartek and
the elite
Ross.
squad coming in. I I remember being at Limejump, and I was like, man, I'm done. I'm done. I can't see how the operating model of Shell is going to be better for buyers and sellers. And at that time, we were working with thousands of generators. And it was one of those gut moments. It was like, I can't do this anymore. And Joe was ahead of me in leaving. And I knew he had something. And then, we had lunch together. For him to travel to my house, he must have had something special. And we had a glass of wine and we just spoke for a few hours. And it was like, wow, I don't fully understand this, but actually having worked together with him and the wider team is like, yeah, let's give this a go.
Yeah,
For me, did you get the call up?
Yeah, for me it was, well, Joe invited me for a little lunch just to discuss, something. Didn't really sell too much on the phone call. But yeah, I was all in pretty much straight away. I think I used to work in energy, in Limejump, and then I work in RWE, and then I saw kind of firsthand like how broken it is. My bonus was massive, like where this money is coming from, who's paying for all that. So when Joe and I met to kind of discuss the next steps, like what we could do with the energy market and how we could shape this, it was actually, almost like calling, right? I was like, yes, I'm jumping on this. I'm quitting my job. I was like, the only condition like just needs to get Ross across, get him in. He knows the market. He operated both in like as a data scientist and operator. I was like, yes, we need this guy for like the complete set of puzzle.
Yeah, nice. How did you first meet Tem? I first met Tem. I first saw Joe on an online demo day, and for people in VC, you'll know that online demo days, there is a range of quality that tends to be on online demo days. It's kind of the 10-minute pitch,
Almost like dating apps.
Yeah, it's like a kind of speed dating, online speed dating kind of thing. Saw Joe, and I'd done renewable energy on the infrastructure side, not on the tech side. I'd done, financing small scale generating assets. And the problem that Joe was talking about, the kind of directly connecting generators and buyers, was something that we had been thinking of on the infrastructure side. Back in those days, it was like private wires and trying to sell over the local grids. We could never quite manage it. Could never get our heads around it. But hearing the problem statement, that's what kind of tweaked. And then I followed up with Joe, and obviously Joe's Joe, and a lot of it went over my head in terms of what he was trying to, or how he was trying to do it. But I was like, it was kind of early days, but met you guys and the rest of the team, big market opportunity. And it was kind of, all from that 10-minute online demo day. And the team hate me for it because it means that they have to keep on doing online demo days just in case.
What were you looking for from investors? Obviously early days, it's all about the trust in the team, trusting that, we have the market expertise and we have in us what it takes to build a company. So I think we're really looking for the partners that understand that it's going to be bumpy. We might pivot once or twice, but understanding that they are with us on the journey. I think that was the key thing we were looking, especially in the early days. But obviously for us to bring someone on that journey meant that we need them to understand what we're going to build, like what's the opportunity, not just what's the opportunity, but how we're going to tackle this and things like that. I think that was the most important thing at a very, very early stage.
Any memories of initial green or red flags? Joe's mustache would be one. I think this is where, Katya, you flash up a photo of Joe and his mustache. Actually, 4 co-founders is tricky, usually. It's a lot of co-founders, and that can cause issues. Do they all get along 100% of the time? is there enough to keep people incentivized? But I think with you guys, it's very obvious that you all brought something unique to that table. And I think it was kind of planned that way. You know, the mastermind behind it all. It was, you're all kind of hand selected. So it works very, and it's kind of like a family anyway.
Yeah.
Green flags, I think, was the ambition. Loved the ambition. It was, from day one, it was like, we're going to take down big energy. I used to chuckle at that when you first said it, and I kind of don't chuckle so much anymore. But
Cool.
Yeah, we hear the four co-founders argument quite a lot, to be honest. Like, it comes up in all the conversations, whether it's like investors or new partners. But I think it's such a big and complex industry. You just need multiple brains to look at it from all the different angles.
Yeah. So look, last year was a big year for us. We closed Series A, and we had a big North Star. And as we reflect upon 2025 and that year, we didn't just meet that North Star, we 3x that North Star, which was a phenomenal experience. It was challenging at times, but it was one heck of a roller coaster. And to see both the teams and for us as founders come together to achieve that, it was a really significant foundational moment for us, actually.
Yeah. What's changed in terms of goals since initial investment from your perspective? I honestly don't think much. I think this has been part of the plan that we talked about since I first invested. I think, how we got here might have taken slightly longer or shorter in some bits, but this was firmly on the roadmap.
Yeah.
So far, but we are still, we're at Series B, so I know what the ambitions are for this company. Still relatively early, but you talked about pivots. I don't think there's really been major pivots. There's been development of the platform and adjustments. There hasn't been a real kind of change in direction.
No, it's sort of pit stops, isn't it? It's like, hey, we just need to pause here for a moment, reflect. And I think what I've loved about this relationship and our board in general is what you talked about earlier, that trust that we've built from day one. So when we are pit stopping and we're reflecting and then we go even harder, that's been some of the highlights so far, I think.
Following the Series A, growth was steady but didn't really accelerate for another 8 months. Were you ever concerned? I think this is one for both of us.
Yeah, so from our perspective, no. I think there was intentionality as we were building the product, as we were building the foundations. And one of the wonderful experiences that we had at Limejump was we really overly commercialized that business, and it really wasn't ready for scale.
Yeah.
And so it was a wonderful learning particularly for Joe and I, who would push and want to continue to push. And then for Bartek and Ross to say, hang on a minute, guys, we need to take time to build the platform. And for the interaction with you and the board to have the trust in that methodology. And then we went and then saw that growth was.
Yeah, I think from our perspective, it was always you guys being upfront and honest. So it was always intentional. And it was always in the guise of, we're not just trying to scale from 0 to 1 here. This has to be in a position where, because when the tap's open, it's going to really fly.
Yeah.
So it needs to be built. We can't rush the build here. It needs to be sustainable in terms of growth. And remember, you guys are always like, this isn't 10x. This needs to go 1,000x. Bartek, that was always your phrase. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think what Jason said is very important. Like we have that very healthy push and pull relationship where obviously all of us want to do very good commercially, but we are building a startup, a company which is backed by technology and backed by product. We know we can't achieve, and that's the scale we want, and essentially tackle the big energy if we just use humans, right? I think that was the play from day one, and we continue.
Nice.
Was there a point where you thought it wouldn't work? I think we had one of those. I think it was pre-Series A when we were trying to find our like supplier relationship.
Yeah.
That was, I think, the hardest moment. But I think after that, yes, there were ups and downs. We had to had these like little pit stops. But I think since then we've been up and onwards, right?
How have the board dynamics changed through the Series A and now Series B? I don't actually think they have much, and I think that's credit to the people around the table. And again, they kind of leave the ego at the door. You guys have always been you valued diverse opinion, I think, and diverse personalities, which we have. You know, Paul has just joined. We've only had one board meeting with Paul, but that went well.
Yeah.
But otherwise, from my perspective, I don't think it doesn't seem to have changed much so far.
No, I think we're bringing bigger problems to the table, but I think the way we interact and the way we discuss things has probably stayed the same since the very beginning.
Yeah, and I think, whenever you said it earlier, right, being transparent, being upfront, we're not coming to the board so that everything looks all glossy and shiny. The ethos has been, hey, this is where we're at. These are the problems that we need to solve. And we're working together as a team. It's never this, I thought a board would be, we come, we report, we hear, and then we go away. But actually, it's been very collaborative, and long may that continue.
And of course, post Series A, you obviously benefited from the free food at Atomico's office for the board meetings, which I know is very important to Jace in particular.
I love Atomico offices and the food, and Bartek will testify. This guy has more breakfasts and lunches at Atomico's than I think most of the employees do.
Yeah. You've actually got your own pass. I've seen it.
Yeah, no. I wish.
I've seen it. How long did it take you to really understand Rosso? Probably up until preparing all the materials for the Series B and some of those videos to really get all the intricate details on it. It's taken, it's a complex platform, and it's a complex piece of tech that's been built. Kudos to Bartek and to Ross. I'm not sure Jason built much.
Yeah, how does Rosso make TEM different to other energy tech startups and incumbents? Interesting question. I think so far, I don't think there's any similar companies that try to tackle this problem in the same angle as we do. However, the way I like to explain Rosso is that we are essentially collapsing a lot of incumbents into like a one single infrastructure, right? So it deals with everything from like forecasting, imbalance, looking forward into like how we match, how we are balanced in terms of forward position, in terms of like buy and sell, right? And because we are actually collapsing a lot of this like little links in the chain of the transaction, we have a much wider picture of what's happening in the market and where we're going. And nobody really took that level of complexity yet and tried to follow our path.
Yeah.
The way I think about it, and the way part of the reason I think it's so amazing what you guys are doing is that there's a lot of great stuff going on in energy tech, and has been for the past kind of 5 years especially. But the vast majority of it is all using the base assumption that things are how they are, as in that infrastructure, the transaction layer is how it is and shall always be and has been since the 80s. And what you guys are doing are actually just saying, reimagining the world and just seeing it differently and saying, actually, no, let's rip that up and have a blank sheet and design how the infrastructure and the transaction should work for the modern world, for the distributed resources, for renewables, and with the paradigm shift in terms of AI and ML. It's a kind of see the world differently moment.
Yeah, for us, it's from day one. It's a generational play. I think that's what excites us so much. And you look at every other industry. I was chatting with some people from fintech this morning, and people now within fintech are really wanting to come into energy because they can see what's happened in that space and the revolution that's taken place there. So it's super humbling to be working at this moment in time. And it's super exciting because of the enormous opportunity that we see for thousands and millions of businesses across the world.
Yeah. Right. Moving on to Series B.
As we start to look forward on our journey, right, one of the things that we work really hard on is this question: how do the four founders, how do we stay aligned? And it's fascinating, really, from our early days of forming TEM, that human connection and that quality time that we spend with each other has really formed a deep foundation. And yes, we don't get to do that as much as we did, but actually we're still really intentional. So every 2 weeks, we as a Elrond team, as a senior management team, and for those who don't know about our Lord of the Rings meeting structure, maybe we could put a blog up on that. So every 2 weeks we meet as a senior management team, and there are some agenda items, and we just get to talk about them. And then invariably there's some paddle, there's some drinks afterwards, or we're just communicating and catching up with the weekends. And so it's both deep relationships built over years, but it's also still being really intentional on the human side as well.
I've got a kind of follow-up question for you two in particular, because you've both got young kids, right? You're the two of the four founders with young kids. How's that? Being high growth founders with, Bartek's very, very new kids.
Yeah, 4.5 and 6 months, right? It comes down to having very, very supportive partner. I wouldn't be able to have family and a business if my wife was not supporting what I'm doing and understanding what I'm doing. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure it's the same with Jason, right?
Well, you got that one in early. Yeah, good answer from Mrs. Stocks. Yeah. I agree. I remember the day that I said
Mrs. Stocks was weighing in on Series B decisions.
She was indeed. Yeah. When the wisdom of her perspective.
How do you feel about the Series B that just been announced? It's been obviously great, right? It's great to be recognized. It's by investors like Lightspeed. We've been obviously oversubscribed. We always are in this quite privileged position to pick which money we take and what we do with the money. So, but it's definitely, it's super privileged position. I think that's the best thing I can say here, right? All I'm gonna say is that we're gonna use the money wisely. We have quite a
Glad to hear that. Yeah.
Quite big plans.
As an investor, always happy to hear that.
I'm just gonna say it's a very, very big privilege, and for a lot of companies, Series B is that kind of graveyard, right? Like they can't raise, the investors don't see the potential, they don't understand the problem. So I think for us to get that message across in such a complex space, I think it's a big win for us, and I think. We're trying to do even better to educate not just the investors but the market, the businesses and generators. So
I think not many people realize the complexity in an energy transaction. So there is always that education piece going on. What do you see as the big challenges for the company? I think this year it's kind of twofold. Obviously had a fantastic year last year in the UK and the kind of initial scale. We've got international expansion on the roadmap, on the horizon, but I think that's the obvious one, being successful internationally, but also really doubling down. I mean, you barely scratched the surface in terms of the opportunity just in the UK. Yeah. So being able to do both of those in the next kind of 12 to 18 months won't be easy. Lots of juggling. Mrs. Stocks might be flying out to Texas, but exciting.
Yeah, the plan is to dominate, then discover.
Nice, I like that.
Yeah, nice.
Just on the back of that, what are our targets for the next 12 months. Look, we had a great foundational year, 2025. We are approaching now only a 1% market share, UK. And so for us, we've only just got started. So this investment allows us to push a lot harder and a lot quicker. So it really comes down to us now utilizing that money, executing faster, learning, and pushing so we can increase that market share in the UK. And as Bartek said, as that continues to happen, that then is a good foundation for us to explore internationalization and obvious markets, as the US as potentially one of those first ones. So it'd be really interesting to do this in January 2027, and where we are. But yeah, that high level is what the plan looks like.
Yeah.
Maybe just to piggyback, like what are the biggest obstacles to scaling? I would say we are really well set to, like I said, kind of dominate in the UK, both in terms of technology and the company structure. I think we've set a really good foundations, both on the product side, but also, how we operate, how we interact with the customers, what happens behind the scene. And also, like, obviously it's thanks to our like kind of knowledge, like previous knowledge, like how the market operates in UK. But I think we hit that kind of point where the product is really much at a good stage where we can just, let it rip. I think the biggest obstacles are, scaling outside of UK. It's almost like setting up a new business. I think it's very much, the market is not the same. It's not a SaaS platform where we just, sell to customers in US, sell to customers in Australia. We are a little bit more vertically integrated. So it's kind of understanding the differences, understanding, how these different markets operate. This is the only kind of small challenge, but otherwise, Rosso is portable. Like we can just basically pick it up and put it in the US, put it in Australia. But how the market operates, everything around Rosso, it's where the challenges probably are.
What keeps you up at night as a TEM board member? Text from you lot when you're at TEMfest at 2 or 3 in the morning. That's one. Memories of the first board meeting and your office back then.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, we have to find, there is a picture somewhere. And we have to try and find the picture and put it up.
Yeah.
Because it's the equivalent of the garage. It's in a decrepit building by London Bridge, which if it's still standing, I have no idea how. And it would have been in January or February because we did the deal in December. So the first board would have been January and February.
Yeah, we all had in jackets.
Yeah, and it was cold outside and it was colder inside. The lift, I could have bet on that lift collapsing at any moment.
You must have come away from that and gone, what have we just done?
At least they're not wasting money on offices, pretty much. Other than that, it's more excitement that keeps me up.
What's the ultimate vision of TEM? Wow, what a great question. Look, from our perspective, this is one of the biggest addressable markets across the planet. We're talking over $1 trillion globally. And so it has to be a generational play. It can't be, we're just solving the edges and then we're going to grow organically or we're going to grow aggressively here and there. It really is fundamentally changing the way that the wholesale market operates. It fundamentally is bringing down the price floor to access buying and selling of power globally. And so for us, it is a once in a lifetime opportunity for us. And the timing is really good. It's, you see businesses, right? So many amazing businesses, you get the timing right. Like, man, it scales. And that's what really excites us. It's the timing. There's the agentic AI element. How do we genuinely build an infrastructure that's scalable with less humans? The commercial feeling that buyers and sellers have had over the last 15, 20 years of going through the wholesale market, it's really ripe. And that's not just in the UK.
Yeah.
And so it really is a huge vision that we see that is achievable over the next few years as we continue to execute, as we continue to move speedily, not just in the UK, but beyond.
It's a big opportunity. I've actually got one that might be a good one to wrap up on. I know you have to leave.
I'm going to jump out. Yeah.
How have the founders changed in the past 3 years?
Oh, great question.
I genuinely don't think. I mean, Bartek and Ross have become prima donnas, and you can't get hold of them anytime. The fact that you're sat here in a cap that looks like it's been dragged through a hedge, and I know for a fact that you've been looking around for any free stuff that you can take, says it all. I know Joe. I mean, Joe doesn't give himself a chance to reflect. He's always on to the next thing, and I don't think he's anywhere near satisfied with where things are yet. But I genuinely don't think much has changed, and I think that's a credit to you guys.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you.
So, Series B done. Huge 12 months. Very exciting 12 months to come, and beyond that. I've got one here. What do you think TEM will ultimately achieve? Is my last question. From my perspective, I genuinely see you guys as the infrastructure layer for the energy transaction globally. I think the opportunity size here is, as Jace kept saying, is once in a generation. I honestly think this is a once in a generation opportunity. And I think the next 12 to 24 months is going to be so exciting. A lot to get done.
Yes, a lot to get done, both on the technical side, but also how we scale the business in terms of setting the right people in the right place. But yeah, I think for us, the vision always been to power the global transactions for energy, and that's where we're heading. That's where we want to be. There's probably a billion lines of code we need to write to get there, but we're getting there.
Well, I mean, if you need Jace to help out on that, please don't let him help out on lines of code. Great. Thanks for coming, Bartek.
Thanks a lot, Adam.